All right, my friends, and welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankees Show, Saturday morning, March the 14th, 2026. And let's make today a great day. How do you make your day great? It's simple. You look to the good that's around you, and you embrace it, and you bring it into your life, and you cherish it. When you notice the good and you appreciate it, you can't help but make each day great. But I know sometimes people say there is no good, Dr. Sem. If that's the case, if you can't look around and find any good, well, then go create some of your own. Do something nice, not for yourself, but for someone else. Think bigger than yourself. When we lose sight of ourselves, focusing here, and we focus on other people, and we do nice things, we create good. And then there's good that you can embrace and make part of your life. Remember, when we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. So as you know, this is the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. You can find a lot of great Yankees content on Start Spreading the News, the greatest Yankees site. We put up 3 articles every single day, 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 2 p.m. We simulcast this program on Start Spreading the News, as well as other podcasts. And we also have gazillions of articles dating back to 2017. And I believe since 2017, we've had more than 5 million page views at Start Spreading the News. As I say, we are the very best in Yankees writing and Yankees coverage and original thought. We have a staff of writers, and we don't all agree on the Yankees. And it makes for great reading and great perspectives on the team. As you also know, the show is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing. Now, this is take 4, my 4th take of this program. We've been having technical difficulties, so I'm not going to show all the books that Artemisia Publishing has, numerous of which I have written. But what I want to do today is I want to talk about the book that's coming out on Tuesday, March the 17th, The Greatest New York Yankees by Uniform Number. This book is getting rave reviews from people who have seen it in the previews. And it's actually what I'd love to talk about tonight on here, the Dr. Sem Yankees Show, which is really tomorrow morning when you're watching it. So this is my new book. As I say, it's getting rave reviews, and I encourage you all to go to AP Books or your local bookseller or Amazon and get a copy. Now, if you go to your local bookstore and they don't have the book, say to them, you need to get this book, and they'll get it in for you. And if you're in the northern New Jersey area, ask your bookseller or your local library to reach out to me for me to come to your area to do a book talk. If you go to my other site, drpaulsem.com, there is a tab there that says appearances. You can see the places where I have spoken and the places where I will be speaking over the next forever. And if you scroll down that appearance tab, you'll see that I have had and continue to have many speaking tour dates. I wouldn't know, tour dates or event dates, since I've been doing book talks and other types of things. There's got to be literally hundreds of appearances that I've documented on there that I've already done, and numerous ones that are coming, and that list is always expanding. So yes, I would love to come to your library or your local bookshop and talk about the greatest New York Yankees by uniform number. I could talk about West Point at Gettysburg. Now, this book is published by Sunbury Press. That's how you would get a copy of this, or go to your local bookstore, or get it on Amazon. And it's always fun to engage with people. And I think this book is going to be an especially fun book to do book talks with, because this book is going to be one that leads to great discussions, great debates, and I hope not arguments, maybe fun arguments, but I think a fun argument might be better characterized as a debate, because what I do is I go through every single uniform number, starting at 99 and counting down, and I discuss who the greatest Yankees or the greatest Yankee at that number is or was. I also have some great original charts that I put in here. There are great graphics. There's great pictures of some of the players. And it goes starting at 99, and it counts all the way down to 0. Now, for some numbers, it's obvious. The greatest number 99 is Babe Ruth. The greatest number 3 is... Did I say Babe Ruth? The greatest 99 is Aaron Judge. My brain's ahead of my mouth. The greatest number 3, Babe Ruth. The greatest number 4, Lou Gehrig. But some numbers leave it open for great debate. And this is where the discussions, the debates, the friendly arguments might come. For example, number 30. Was the greatest number 30 Willie Randolph or Mel Stottlemyre? Or how about number 8? Who was better, Bill Dickey or Yogi Berra? Now, a few notes. This isn't which player wore a uniform for a moment and was the greatest player to ever don that uniform, if only for a short while. You'd be hard-pressed to find very many better Yankees in history than Mickey Mantle, of course. Some arguments would say the only two that are better than Mantle, or were better, were Ruth and Gehrig. Some might say DiMaggio is better. Some might say Aaron Judge will be better. But obviously, Mantle's on the short list. For a brief amount of time, he wore number 6. So he's already recognized as having number 7. And a player could be the best in more than one number, but Mantle wasn't the best player while wearing number 6. There's players who were better than him because you'd only have one season of Mantle in number 6 from which to judge. So that's how I came up with the criteria. It's who was the best player while wearing that number over the course of how many games they played or pitched while wearing that number. And I don't necessarily just agree with a number that's retired either. I don't say number 9 is retired for Roger Maris, so he's obviously the greatest at that number. I don't play it that way. Hank Bauer might have been better than Roger Maris. Greg Nettles might have been a better player as a Yankee wearing number 9 than Roger Maris. Or it might have been Roger Maris. But these are the great debates that I present and I discuss and I draw a conclusion from in the book. Was number 1 Earl Coombs or was number 1 Billy Martin? Or was number 1 somebody else? Was the greatest Yankee while wearing uniform number 1 someone else? Also of great fun and of great note, if the number was worn by a manager, I don't count the manager. So Joe Torre's number 6 is retired, but he's not the greatest Yankee in uniform number 6 because he didn't play for the Yankees. Casey Stengel's number 37 is retired, but he can't be the greatest Yankees player in number 37 because Casey Stengel never played while wearing number 37. As I said, I also created some really fun charts with interesting statistics and interesting facts. And in addition to counting down from 99 to 0, I also list the greatest Yankees who didn't wear a uniform number. Uniform numbers only began in 1929. So who were and who was the greatest Yankee or Yankees before uniform numbers were on their backs? Look to this wonderful book published by Artemisia Publishing, and you'll find that I give the answer. I also have an extended appendix with all sorts of lists of numbers and Yankees by alphabetical name, so you can look their numbers up. The Yankees in Monument Park, Yankees who deserve to be in Monument Park, the top Yankees by WAR, etc., etc. It's just fun stuff. This is a book you're going to want to read. It's a book you're going to want to get. It's a book you're going to want to have your friends get so that you can all read it and then debate. And again, I am happy, and I would be happy to head to your local library. I speak at senior citizens clubs, other types of clubs, your local bookstore, and I can tell you who I think the greatest number 8 was. I'll give you a hint. It's Yogi. And you can argue why it's not Yogi, because Bill Dickey has a great argument for being the greatest Yankee to wear number 6. Once again, you can find the greatest New York Yankees by uniform number at apbooks.net. One of the fun things that happens when you go and give book talks and things, I just did a book talk for the West Point at Gettysburg book in Englewood just the other night. And that book focuses on all of the West Point graduates who fought at the Battle of Gettysburg, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 1863. And as you know, this is volume 1, covering people, men, whose last names began from A through G. So volume 2 will begin at the letter H. Without getting into a whole bunch of Civil War stuff, not every general who fought in the Civil War came from West Point. There were generals who became generals in political ways and other ways. And when you do a book talk, people come and they ask questions. And a person in the audience at Englewood raised his hand and he said, "How many generals fought at the Battle of Gettysburg?" And I thought, I don't know that. That I don't know. How would I know that? Because I really didn't research that. I was researching, and I am researching as I write volume 2, the West Point graduates who were at Gettysburg. And they weren't all generals. They were officers because they graduated from the military academy, but they weren't all generals. Anyway, so I checked it out, did some research, and I found that I believe this number is true. There were 120 different generals who fought at the Battle of Gettysburg. It's always fun to find out more facts and more information. And I will now address that question ahead of time when I do book talks for West Point at Gettysburg. I'm going to be doing a few of them right in a couple of weeks. I think I'm in Demarest. I think that's on the 26th. You could check that website, drpaulsem.com, and find the exact dates, and I'll advertise it on Start Spreading the News. I'm going to be next coming Wednesday, the 18th, the day after the book, the day after the Yankee book comes out. I'll be the featured speaker at the Ridgefield, New Jersey annual library luncheon. I've been their big speaker for a couple of years in a row now, which is quite a great honor. And we're going to talk about the West Point book. I'm going to teach them about West Point and the Battle of Gettysburg and why that's all super important. And each time I do a presentation and there's someone who asks me something that I don't know, I then refine the presentation. So it's oftentimes very similar, but oftentimes I also modify and change the presentation. So that's the big story for today. As you know, I don't get into spring training. I haven't watched any spring training games. I haven't watched any of the World Baseball Classic. I really don't care about the World Baseball Classic. I know a lot of people do. And, you know, sometimes people get mad. They're like, "Oh, why are you being negative?" I'm not being negative. I'm busy. I'm doing a lot of different things. Those of you who know me know that I'm doing a lot of different things. And even if the only thing I was doing was running Start Spreading the News and helping put out 3 articles a day every single day and keeping that site running, that's a big job. Even if that's all I was doing, that's a lot. But try running a blog like this someday and you'll see. But then I'm doing podcasts. I'm writing books. Like on and on and on. And it's just, there's a million things. And it's great to be busy, though. It's great to be engaged in so many things and to be doing so many great things and to meeting so many great people. And again, that's one of the joys of being able to be an author. But since I'm so busy, I don't have really time to watch the World Baseball Classic, and I don't have time to watch spring training games, because here's the truth about spring training games. I hate to break this to some people out there who really get into it. By and large, for the most part, the majority of the time, one's spring training numbers are irrelevant to how one performs in the regular season. I've seen this my whole life. When I was a kid, I'd watch the Yankees in spring training and be like, "Oh my goodness, this guy, he's so good. He's great." And then it turns out he's really not. And the veterans are working on things. The pitchers are getting guys out who might be working. There might be a batter up there who says, "I'm just going to be tracking curveballs today." And so a pitcher might blow some fastballs by a guy, might even be a superstar. And they'll be saying, "Wow, this guy's on fire. Look at how great he is." And then the season comes and a major leaguer says, "I know it's a hittable fastball. I wasn't swinging at fastballs yesterday. It was spring training. I was working on things." And so I don't put any stock in spring training numbers, but I will put stock in what happens when the season comes. And it's coming in 2 weeks. And You have to be optimistic and hopeful because I want to watch the Yankees win. The sad reality is, as I've shared, I'm not all that enthused about the season because I just don't think they're great. And they aren't trying to be great. They're trying to be better than the other not great teams. Because so many teams make the playoffs, the Yankees are thinking we only have to be one of the top 40% of the teams in the American League and we'll make the playoffs and then anything can happen. And certain fans are excited about that. They're like, the Yankees compared to the rest of the league, they look good. But I miss the days when the Yankees' goal was to be great, when the definition was excellent. It wasn't, I hope we're just a little better than that pretty good team. As long as we're a little more pretty good than the pretty good team, we might make the playoffs. There's a vast difference and a vast divide between striving to be just a little better than pretty good and striving to be great. In my world, you should be striving to be great. Greatness is what should be defining really most of our efforts, most of the time, and most of what we do. But it should be always defining what the Yankees are doing because they're the New York Yankees and that's their brand. We are the greatest franchise. They, not we, but that's what they would say. We are the greatest franchise. So act like it. Be the greatest franchise and shoot for greatness and excellence, not a little better than pretty good. And I'm surprised that when I have these discussions, people don't understand that there's a vast difference, a momentous difference, a difference that's canyon-esque between being excellent, striving for greatness, true excellence, and striving for pretty goodness. That's a vast difference. And there was a time when the Yankees were defined by striving for greatness. If you strive for greatness and you fall short, at least the fans say they tried, they put their best foot forward. But if you strive for pretty goodness and you fall short, I'm not inspired. Well, we thought we were better than the fourth place team. As long as we could be one of the top 6 teams in the league, we thought we could be top 5. And then the Cleveland Guardians knocked us out of the playoffs. Just wasn't our year. That's not inspiring. Maybe that's inspiring for the Cleveland Guardians or the Minnesota Twins. It's not inspiring for the New York Yankees. And that's what's disappointed me these last many years is the lack of enthusiasm, this lack of desire to be great. And I want the Yankees to want to be great. And I wish all their fans would root for that. But so many have bought into we're over 500 for so many years. We've been successful. And we just are going to try to make the playoffs because then anything can happen. I don't want to root for anything can happen. I want to root for, in every series, my team is the favorite team. Knowing full well they won't always win, but also knowing full well that they put their best foot forward. I expect greatness. I was just at my eye doctor yesterday. He is the greatest eye doctor. I enjoy going to the eye doctor because someone who's great is checking out my vision. And I trust his perspective entirely. I trust his expertise entirely because his reputation is flawless and he sets the highest bar for excellence. I wouldn't go to an eye doctor who's pretty good. He's not bad. I mean, he's a little better than average. Think about it. My chiropractor is fantastic. My doctor, fantastic. My dentist, fantastic. I go to people who are the best because I expect excellence. In my professional life, I try to be outstanding. I don't try to just say, I'm a little better than kind of pretty good. It's okay. It's all right. The difference between and greatness is a canyon. It's ginormous. And I just don't understand why people don't get that when I say that. The Yankees could win the division, Paul. They're going to be pretty good. They could win 88 games and make it. They're going to be fine. I don't want my team to be striving for 88. I want them to be striving for 110 because they have the very best players because they're the Yankees. I think the Yankees will probably make the playoffs. I think it'll be an uninspiring brand of baseball this year. When they finally make it, it'll be, okay, wow. That was a long season. It wasn't like super fun because they're not a super fun team to watch, even though I love them and write about them all the time. Let's hope. There's nothing I'd like more than to have the Yankees have a great year and to be coming on here in October or early November and going, they're the world champs. I never saw it coming. I was not a believer. They proved me wrong, and I couldn't be happier. My goodness, if I'm saying negative things about the Yankees, I want to be wrong. Yankees proved me wrong this year. Be great. Be excellent. Make it a fun summer. Unfortunately, I don't think they will. All right, my friends. We're running long here. West Point to Gettysburg. Phenomenal book. If you haven't read it, you should. This is coming out on Tuesday, The Greatest New York Yankees by Uniform Number. Phenomenal book. Get it. Debate with your friends. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Remember, when we root for sports teams, it's just fun. In the real world, in real life, seek excellence in everything you do. But along the way, remember that you're dealing with other people who have feelings and emotions. Be kind, be understanding, and show love. Show compassion. Be the better person. Be gracious. Show gratitude. When we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. And the same is true for kindness, empathy, understanding. Does that mean everyone's going to be nice to you? No, it does not. But most will. Have a great day. Let's go Yankees in a couple of weeks. Let's go Team USA, because if they win, even though I'm not really watching and I don't really care, but if they win, maybe it teaches Aaron Judge what it's like to be a champion. And maybe he brings that back to the Yankees and helps carry them to a championship. Wouldn't that be something? Have a great day. We've gone a little long, as I say. We also have a new outro, which was used at the beginning for the McGrath Podcast Network, which we are now part of. Have a great day. Thank you, and I'll see you again real soon.